Welcome to Iredell County Sheriff's Office Community Watch for March 2019. I want to thank everybody who's been watching the show. The show continues to grow and gain more viewers, so thank you all out there. And also thank you all for providing tips. The Sheriff is very appreciative for those who have watched and seen and provided tips on those who are the most wanted in Iredell County. So before we get started today, I want to give a special invitation. Next month, many of you are first responders, you're veterans, or both, and you know about the struggles with post-traumatic stress. Well, there's a play coming to Stateville to Mitchell College Shear Hall on April 27th called Last Out. It's the elegy of a Green Beret. It's written by a Green Beret who was in Iraq and Afghanistan, talking about the situations you get in with post-traumatic stress. This is also in conjunction, it's brought to you by Operation Angel Wing. It's a new organization you'll be hearing more about, so Todd Millsaps and Mary Millsaps, and also Brad Boulders with Reboot Combat Recovery and First Line Responders program. You've heard about them. We'll have a video about that, but mark your calendars now and buy your tickets now. April 27th in Mitchell College Shear Hall. It's going to be a great event, and it's been acclaimed nationwide. So April 27th, Last Out, Elegy of a Green Beret. So go to lastoutplay.com. Okay, so here we are for March, so we're going to go over to Mike Furman and Sheriff Campbell. Before that, reminder, if you've not done it yet, go to SVLfreenews.com to sign up for your email edition, which comes out every morning at 5 a.m. SVL Free News, always local, always free. Okay, so here we go. Let's go to Mike Furman and Sheriff Darren Campbell for Community Watch for March 2019.
Thanks, Brian. Welcome to another edition of Community Watch with Iredell County Sheriff Darren Campbell. Darren, thanks for joining us again.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Well, let's get right into it. Let's start with the most wanted, probably the most popular feature on the show.
Well, we got 5 more people. We want to know if we can have help with the public locating, and I'll start and be quick. First one is Davion Sincere Rankin. He's 17 years old at North Lackey Street. He's wanted for 2 counts of resisting, obstructing, delay, shoplifting, and a probation violation. And the thing important about him is he's also an absconder from North Carolina Probation and Parole, so I'm sure they'd love to have the help in finding him. Our second person is a Brian Michael Johnson. He's 33 years old of West Dixon Boulevard in Shelby, and he is wanted for felony attempt to obtain property by false pretense. As you notice, we see a lot of those. That's a lot of your scams, a lot of taking advantage of people through different means. Our third one is Quadarius Dwayne Bailey, 20 years old. He's from Hayes Street in Harmony. He's wanted for felony assault by strangulation, assault on a female, felony breaking and entering a motor vehicle, first-degree burglary, and common law robbery. He don't have a bad history, but obviously by these charges, somebody that we would like to get in custody. So obviously, anybody can help us with Mr. Bailey. Our fourth one is David Joe Mitchell from Sinking Waters Road in Brandy, Virginia. But he come here, it seems, to commit his crime, and he is basically he's wanted for failure to do work after receiving payment. And a lot of that comes with your home improvement scams that we see when people will call us and ask us, hey, this person here in my neighborhood, or he started a project, took the money, and never failed to perform the work. And our last but not least, and we've had this a couple times, is Mr. Wesley Patrick Fulbright, 39 years of age, out off Junebug Drive in Stony Point. He is wanted for possession with intent to sell and deliver Schedule 1 controlled substance, manufacture, sell, and deliver Schedule 3, and also Schedule 6. And found and maintain a vehicle in place for controlled substance, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. He has those are the charges he's currently wanted for. He has a pretty severe history of communicating threats, concealed weapon, paraphernalia, DWIs, and felony possession of controlled substances. So we've heard he's on the run, so anybody that may have information from Mr. Fulbright, please contact the Sheriff's Office.
All right. Well, that's our top 5 for March. Just wanted to, before we go on to the next topic, I know the Sheriff's Office was involved in working with Alexander County on the double homicide, and I think the suspects were arrested over the weekend, and they were from Stony Point, right?
Yes.
Stony Point seems to be a hotbed for criminal activity for the size of the community right now. Are you seeing a lot of drug activity in that area?
You know, I've seen the case up there and don't know a lot about the Alexander case. Obviously, we participated in helping locate the suspect and working some of the cases. You know, we do. It sees its fair share. I don't want to say Stony Point have like a crime spree. It's not, but it also stretches across 2 counties, and it's a wide zip code. So a lot of people use those addresses. It's maybe not just for the small town Stony Point, but use that address. So, you know, this was just, you know, we hate what happened up there, and I'm glad they got those guys in custody and protecting the public.
All right. Now, Sheriff, you were recently appointed to the Board of Directors of the National Sheriff's Association. I know that requires some travel to Washington, D.C. and some extra meetings. Tell us a little bit about that association and what it does and the dividends, I guess, that's going to pay for people in Iredell County.
Well, there's some travel, hopefully not a lot, mostly just 2 times a year. The dividends that by sitting on that board is hopefully we'll be able to help with certain legislative things that affect us here. Not on just a national scale, but by making laws and creating legislation on a national side, that it flows back to us. And basically, I just want to be able to use that position to give Iredell County a position nationally to make sure that certain legislative decisions and legislative pushes and other things that other sheriffs may be having a problem out west that we've not seen here yet, to get ahead of the game. And it all goes back to being proactive versus reactive. But so far, it's been a huge benefit. We was very involved in sort of some of the position building relationships with the southwestern border sheriffs, which has been a huge part of the immigration issue. And by having a seat there and being able to talk to them one-on-one has been beneficial for us.
So you've learned a lot as well.
Absolutely. And we can see, and it's good to be able to call the sheriff down in Arizona or Texas and say, hey, are you seeing this with certain cartels, and we've made this arrest up here. But just being able to develop that network, and it's been great so far.
Okay. All right. Now, the county commission's in the process of putting together their budget for the next fiscal year. And let's talk a little bit about the sheriff's budget. I know you're going to request funding for 7 additional school resource officers. Tell us a little bit about that and why you think it's important at this time.
Well, obviously, it's budget time, and it always is. It seems like starting in the dead of winter and going through spring to get our budgets. And we've been a good steward of our dollars. I try to offset taxpayer dollars anytime I can and make the best use of resources we have. Reallocate manpower. But we've constantly seen, and I'm constantly asked of, what are we going to do in our elementary school? We see the school shootings. We see the letters that go home, the threats through Snapchat and other social media, even on the elementary school level. We see the opioid epidemic. We see the teen suicide problem that we're going into. So what better way to build the relationships and maybe educate the children is get in the elementary school side. You know, the fire service has done it for years. We do it with our mobile classroom. We have a threat assessment officer. We have a person that I assign, which is Deputy Sharp and Tito, our new K9. And his job is to visit the elementary schools. He has been a rock star visiting these schools. We constantly get emails, hey, bring him to my school. But what that's accomplishing, hopefully, is building relationships up with the kids. So in the future, if they are aware of an active shooter threat or a threat against our schools, or, hey, somebody offered me this pill, this is a person selling the school, we will have those relationships pre-built and be able to help, you know, reduce crime rates way out in the future when they ultimately go to middle school, high school, and come back and be protective citizens. So we just want to get involved early. And not only that, it creates a presence at the schools. And we understand that presence is the #1 deterrent, especially as a violent shooter or an active shooter or somebody just coming and making a threat to a school. I think a lot of people don't understand the service calls we do to the schools. And a lot of it is custody agreements and domestic violence orders where those kids are caught in the middle. But the schools are there unprotected. And I want to make sure we do all we can to protect the administrators, the parents that visit, and the students that's on these campuses. We have SROs at the middle and elementary schools already. Why is the elementary any less to be protected?
Okay, and so that's going to be, I guess, a new line item in your budget. Anything else you're requesting funding for that people might find interesting?
Well, obviously we'll be working on trying to keep up our staffing rates. You know, we are the lowest staffed agency for our size per 1,000 citizens. We're about 1.4 per 1,000 compared to other agencies, which even locally some of them are 2 times the staffing rates we have. We've got to keep up with the growth. We've got to keep up with specialized units, at least some of them. So we're looking at possibly maybe 2 to 3 to 4 other positions. We'll see how that goes. We're trying to reallocate positions as much as we can, but it seems that's going to be one thing that we're going to have to ask, just to keep up with the growing call volumes. It's constantly. Cell phones have created a huge burden because of the 911 calls. Constantly 911 hang-ups, 911 person this here. That takes a lot of manpower just to handle those calls, but you've got to think, some people say, well, ignore them. But the problem is, what if it was you that was in a bad accident and you couldn't speak? The only thing you can do is hit the emergency call. So we've got to check every one of them. And the growth in the south end and other parts of the county. So that's what we're looking for.
Okay. And finally, I know you have some active shooter training coming up for the general public on March 30th at 9 o'clock at the Ag Building off Bristol Drive. Tell us a little bit about what people can expect and how they can sign up.
All right. Well, first of all, you can sign up by sending us either a Facebook message to Iredell County Sheriff, email us. You can go to iredellsheriff.com and email us, or simply pick up the phone and call us and ask for myself or Captain Hamby. But it's basically a citizen's response to an active shooter. You know, we see about it. We just seen what happened in New Zealand. We see what's happened in schools. We see what's happened over the last year, and we can hear about it. But what happens if it does happen to you and you're somewhere? So we want to create and let them sort of know what to expect. Best ways through the cases that maybe in Florida that happened, the ones that did survive during their debrief, what did they say protect them? We want to make sure we get that message out. We want to make sure that we let people know if you're seeing a difference in behavior, somebody that you know and you see a difference and you know this is going on, maybe say something. Don't wait. And we also wanted to know, there's a lot of concealed carry. We have a lot of concealed carry people that carry concealed handguns, and I'm a strong supporter of the concealed carry program. But we need to make sure we understand if you're an active shooter and you have to make that decision to stop that threat, what to expect from law enforcement, what to expect upon our arrival. You know, because we've been trained since Columbine to respond certain ways, and I think that's very important. A lot of people ask me, well, I went through the class for the concealed carry, but can I defend myself this way, or is this a valid threat? We want to make sure we let them know that. Just tactics to survive, tactics that they can take to them, and or stuff questions that they may not be able to research, and we can see from a law enforcement perspective, and sort of let them know. We want to share the information. I want everybody to be safe, and any advantage we can get through this training is going to be great.
Okay.
So, anybody wants to come? It's March the 30th. That's on a Saturday. It's running from 9 to about 1 o'clock. And I think you're buying lunch. But send us a message, sign up, or you know what, just show up. We expecting, we did Church Shield, we did some of these sort of like these large group training. And some of them we've had close to 300 people, maybe more. So this one's filling up fast, but anybody like to come, we'd love to have you.
All right. Well, thanks, Sheriff. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And we'll talk to you next month.
Hey, thank you.